All right, let's dive into Chapter 3, Entrepreneurship Development. Now, this is a really important one for your exams, so we're going to break it all down. Have you ever wondered what really makes an entrepreneur tick? What separates a cool idea from a successful business? Well, that's exactly what we're unpacking today. We're going to cover the whole journey, from what the word even means to the government programs helping people succeed. Let's get right into it.
So here's our roadmap for this chapter. First, we'll nail down the definition. What is an entrepreneur really? Then we'll get into their mindset, kind of like dissecting the anatomy of an entrepreneur. After that, we'll look at the actual path, the process of entrepreneurship. We'll then zoom in on what's happening right here in India with the startup revolution. And finally, we'll look at a new kind of innovator you might not have heard of, the intrapreneur.
Okay, first things first, the word entrepreneur feels super modern, right? You probably picture someone in a hoodie pitching a tech startup, but the word actually has a long history, and its meaning has evolved in some pretty surprising ways. Let's see how we got from military leaders to today's business visionaries.
But before I give you the textbook definition, just take a second to think about it. What does that word entrepreneur mean to you? Is it just about making money? Starting a company? Or is it something more? A certain way of thinking? That question is at the heart of everything we're about to cover. So the word itself has been on quite a journey. It comes from this French verb, entreprendre, which just means to undertake. Way back in the 16th century, it wasn't about business at all. It was used for military leaders, guys undertaking risky expeditions. Then, around 1700, it shifted to people like architects and contractors, people undertaking big projects. It wasn't until the 18th century that it finally landed in the world of business. So you see, the core idea has always been about undertaking a big, risky venture. And here we are. This is the simple, clean definition you'll want to remember. It boils down to two absolutely essential things. First, you have to start a business. And second, you have to be willing to risk loss for the chance to make money. Those two keywords, business and risk, are what it's all about. So we know the definition, but what about the person? What's going on inside their head? What are the traits that make someone an entrepreneur? Let's take a look at the anatomy of these trailblazers. Now pay close attention here, because this is a classic exam topic. These are the core characteristics. It's not just about one thing. It's having the creative brain power, the vision to see where things are going, and the sheer grit to put in long hours. You need the technical know-how, but also this incredible optimism to keep going when you fail. And of course, the confidence to take smart, calculated risks. I absolutely love this quote. It captures the spirit so perfectly. It's not about waiting until you have all the money and all the people you need. No way. It's about seeing an opportunity and just going for it, even when you're starting with practically nothing. It's about being resourceful, not resourceful. So what does an entrepreneur actually do all day? Well, their job can be broken down into these core functions. It almost always starts with innovation, a new product, a better way of doing something. From there, they have to set clear objectives, figure out how to find and build a market, use the right technology, get the funding, and probably the toughest part, make the right decisions day in and out. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit. We've talked about the person, now let's talk about the process. Because entrepreneurship isn't just a single event, it's a whole journey, a path of building something from nothing. This section is all about that process. And here's a key distinction you need to understand. The entrepreneur is the person. Entrepreneurship is the process, the action. It's the act of innovation itself. It's a planned economic activity. It's about building a team and an organization. It's about being creative. And it's always about taking on big risks that you often can't even insure against. So this begs the question, can entrepreneurs be made, or are they just born that way? Well, many believe they can be nurtured. And that's where something like an Entrepreneurship Development Program, or EDP, comes in. Think of it as a formal system or a boot camp. You set up the infrastructure, find people with potential, help them flesh out an idea, give them the training they desperately need, and then stick with them to provide support. Okay, let's bring all this theory into the real world right here in India. There's been a massive push from the government to build a culture of innovation, and we're going to look at two huge initiatives that you absolutely need to know about. First up is Startup India. This was a game changer when it launched back in 2016. The goal was huge and ambitious, to create a powerful ecosystem for startups to grow. The big vision? To turn India into a country of job creators, not just job seekers.
And they put their money where their mouth is. The government set up a fund of 10,000 crore rupees specifically to back startups. A number that big tells you just how serious this initiative was.
So how does Startup India actually help? Well, it cuts through a lot of the red tape that drives founders crazy. It makes compliance easier, it gives you a quick 90-day exit if things don't work out, and here's the big one. It gives you major tax breaks on capital gains and income for those critical first 3 years. It's all about lowering the barrier to entry. Now, right alongside Startup India, another incredibly important scheme was launched, Stand Up India. This one has a laser focus on promoting entrepreneurship among women and people from scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. The whole point is to make sure growth is inclusive and that opportunity is available to everyone. This table right here is basically your cheat sheet for the Stand Up India scheme, perfect for revision. The heart of the program is that every bank branch has to fund at least one SC/ST entrepreneur and at least one woman entrepreneur. They can get a loan from 10 lakhs up to 1 crore for a greenfield project, meaning their very first venture. All the key details are right here for you. All right, for our final section, we're looking at a fascinating, modern twist on this whole idea. What happens when you've got that entrepreneurial spirit, but you work inside a big, established company? Well, say hello to the intrapreneur. So what is an entrepreneur? Simply put, they're an entrepreneur inside an existing organization. They're an employee who's given the freedom, the budget, and the support from their company to chase down their own new creative ideas. They're like an in-house innovator. Now, understanding the difference here is key, and this is another classic exam question. An entrepreneur takes on all the personal financial risk. It's their money on the line. They own the business. An intrapreneur, on the other hand, is an employee using the company's resources. The company takes the financial risk. It all boils down to two things: risk and ownership. And that brings us to the end of our explainer. We've gone from the history of the word all the way to the support systems in India today and the different ways you can innovate. So that just leaves one last question, and this one's for you to think about. Whether you go it alone as an entrepreneur or innovate from within as an intrapreneur, what kind of enterprise will you create?